children, welcome back. Let's first discuss some of the keywords.
Keywords are fragments, a small part broken off or separated from something. Extrusive, used about rocks that has been pushed out of the earth by a volcano. Fossils, the remains of the dead plants and animals trapped in the layers of rocks are called fossils. Compressed, to make something fill less space than usual.
As we have discussed in our previous video about the interior part of the earth, these are the crust, mantle and core. Then we have discussed about what is crust, what is core and what is mantle. Now we will discuss about our new topic, that is the rocks and minerals. The earth crust comprises numerous types of the rocks and minerals, and these rocks are the natural masses of the minerals found on the earth, and they consist of one or more than one minerals. Now we will discuss more about the rocks and minerals. Let's see.
Different types of rocks have different characteristics with regard to their composition, color, size and texture. On the basis of their mode of formation, there are three major types of rocks: igneous, sedimentary and metamorphic. Igneous rocks are formed when molten magma cools and becomes solid. It would happen below the earth as well. The earth's surface made up of igneous rock, while sedimentary rocks are formed in a stuff like sand and dirt and put down layers. 70% of land is covered with the sedimentary rock. Cell of the origin rocks are removed by erosion and blow away to new locations. When the fossils are buried, the heat and pressure make the new rock. The new rock cycle begins all again. Rain, wind, ice, plants and animals break rock into fragments. These rock fragments are carried away. Water, running water, wind and ice are deposited in depression. Deposited materials are called sediments. How rocks are formed? What it made up of? Rocks are made up of one or more minerals. In ancient times, rocks were used to make tools and weapons. Rocks take long time to form and always changing. Some rocks are gold or diamonds are very rare. These rocks do not allow water to percolate through them. We live on them and made houses out of them. Even we wear them. Rocks and minerals are essential for us.
Igneous rocks. Igneous rocks are also known as the magmatic rocks. As these rocks are made from the magma or lava, so we are calling these rocks as a magmatic rock. The igneous word, it is derived from the Latin word ignis, that means the fire. The igneous rocks are formed due to the cooling, solidification and crystallization of hot and molten magma. As we had discussed in our previous video, that when the volcanic eruption takes place, that the molten magma that comes to the surface and the cooling and solidification and crystallization, this process is known as the, we can say it is formed that the igneous rocks. Now the igneous rocks are also known as the primary rocks because all are the rocks that made directly or indirectly from the igneous rocks only, like sedimentary rock or metamorphic rocks. These are formed with the igneous rocks. Due to internal or external processes, these rocks underwent the changes, and these changes, many of these transformed into the sedimentary or metamorphic rocks. Does not have fossil or forms. Does not have fossil or forms means these rocks does not have any fossil. We cannot see any fossil in it, and do not have any form like any strata or layers of the lava, that the layer of the earth we cannot find in these rocks. They are hard, granular and crystalline rocks, less affected by the chemical weathering. As these rocks are granular and crystalline rocks and less affected by the chemical weathering, means as these rocks are solid and crystalline like a granite, so these rocks are less affected by the chemical weathering. But there are always some exceptions. In it also we have exception, like the limestone and the chalk are the rocks that can be affected by the chemical weathering and can melt with the rain or the chemical water. Okay, so now let's know more about the igneous rocks. Let's see.
Igneous rock properties contain interlocking crystals held together strongly, which makes the rock hard. The crystals have a disorderly arrangements. Crystal size depend on how quickly the rock solidifies. They never contain magma. Is a slushy mix of molten rock, gases and mineral crystals. The main compound is magma is silica. Controls melting point and viscosity, how well lava
On the basis
flows.
of their mode of occurrence, the igneous rocks further divided into two parts, that is extrusive rocks or intrusive rocks. The extrusive rocks and intrusive rocks, as we know that the igneous rocks made from the magma or lava. As we discussed in our previous video and previous topic, the rocks and minerals, where we discussed that how the lava and magma makes the forms the igneous rocks. Okay, so now we will discuss how the extrusive rocks and intrusive rocks form. As we know that when the volcanic eruption takes place and the molten magma that comes to the surface and cooling and solidification, the process, it form rocks, and these rocks are known as the igneous rocks. And the process of cooling, the molten magma cools on the surface of the earth is known as the extrusive rocks, and the molten magma that cooled down inside the earth, that is known as the intrusive rocks. The example of the extrusive rocks is the basalt rock. The basalt rock, it is the Deccan Plateau is a plateau which is made up of the basalt rock only. The intrusive rock, as these rocks cool slowly and forms a large grains and granite and grading of these stones are, we use these grading stones in making of paste or powder and some of the grains and spices. Okay, and for example, the example of the intrusive rocks are the granite rocks.
Intrusive igneous rock. Most intrusive rocks have large, well-formed crystals. The mineral crystals within them are large enough to see without a microscope. The more slowly molten rock cools within the earth, the larger the igneous rock crystals will be. Examples of the intrusive igneous rocks are granite, gabbro, and dorite. Extrusive igneous rocks. Extrusive igneous rocks or volcanoes form when magma makes its way to Earth's surface. The molten rock erupts or flows above the surface as lava and then cools, forming rock. Most extrusive volcanic rocks have small crystals. Examples include basalt, rhyolite, and andesite.
The second type of rock is sedimentary rock. The word sedimentary derived from the Latin word sedimentum. It means the settle down. When the particles they deposited in one place in a layer, so we call it the sedimentary rock or a settling of a rock. As we discussed in a igneous rock, that the igneous rocks are also known as the primary rocks because these rocks, the other rocks, all of the other rocks, they directly or indirectly formed from the igneous rocks only. As these rocks they roll down, crack, then hit each other and broken down into a small fragment, and these fragments, this smaller particle, it is known as the sediment, and these sediment then transported and deposited by the air, water and wind. Okay, then these sediments are compressed and hardened to form layers of the rock. Then later on these sediments, these compressed and hardened and cemented one by one, and this layer is known as the sedimentary rocks. And this layer is also derived from the older rocks and the dead animals as the fossil of the animals. Okay, now let's discuss more about the sedimentary rock and the classification of the sedimentary rocks.
Sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rock is formed by erosion. Sediments are moved from one place to another. Sediments are deposited in layers with the older ones on the bottom. The layers become compacted and cemented together.